Have you ever thought about what makes cancer so incredibly difficult to truly defeat?
Hmm.
We think about targeting these cells, eliminating them,
Right.
but it's not always that simple, is it?
No, it really isn't.
It's like these cancer cells have this secret talent for breaking free,
Yeah,
spreading to places you wouldn't even imagine.
exactly.
Think about it for a second. A tiny cell designed to exist in, say, your breast tissue
Okay.
somehow manages to travel through your body and set up shop in a completely different environment, like your brain or spinal fluid.
Yeah, it's amazing and terrifying all at the same time.
Totally. And that's the real heartbreaker with cancer, right?
Mhm.
It's this process called metastasis.
Right.
This spreading that makes it so incredibly dangerous.
Yeah.
We're getting better at treating those initial tumors,
Mm-hmm.
but when it spreads to vital organs,
It's a whole different ballgame.
absolutely. And that's why understanding metastasis is absolutely crucial.
Yeah,
It's the main reason behind most cancer deaths we read.
that's right. It's a sobering thought.
It really is. So in this deep dive,
Yeah.
we're going to unpack this whole journey that these cancer cells take, the crazy obstacles they face, and the mind-blowing ways they adapt to thrive in these new and strange places.
Sounds good.
We've been looking at some fascinating scientific studies.
Yeah, a lot of dedicated researchers out there working on this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just try to picture this journey for a second.
Okay.
Imagine you're a cell that's perfectly at home in a breast tumor.
Okay.
Suddenly, you have to break free and navigate through the bloodstream,
Oh, wow.
which we learn is like this high-speed river with intense forces that could tear you apart.
Right.
Then you somehow have to land and survive in a totally alien environment.
I mean, that's
It's
just...
mind-blowing.
Talk about resilience.
Yeah, I mean, Anna Gomes, who's a cancer biologist we read about, put it perfectly.
Oh, yeah. What'd she say?
She said it's just against everything in the nature of these cells.
Yeah.
They're meant for this specific environment, right?
Right. Specific conditions.
Specific nutrients
Yeah.
to endure the stress of travel and then set up shop in a place with completely different resources and threats.
It's remarkable.
It really is. And the chances of success are ridiculously slim.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Matthew Vander Heyden even called metastasis an accident.
An accident.
Yeah, emphasizing just how unlikely this whole process is.
I mean, it makes sense, though.
Yeah.
If you think about how many cells tumors release
Right, constantly.
constantly,
Yeah.
most of them don't make it.
Don't survive.
They don't survive the trip, or they can't settle in the new place.
Right.
So the ones that do succeed, it's like they've won the lottery.
It really is defying the odds.
Absolutely.
So what's their secret weapon?
Hmm.
How do these vulnerable cells pull off this incredible journey?
Well, the research really highlights one key factor.
Okay.
It's what they call metabolic flexibility.
Metabolic flexibility.
Yeah, these successful metastatic cells, they can actually reprogram their biochemistry.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they can adjust how they get and use nutrients,
Interesting.
which lets them survive in these really tough environments and escape danger.
So it's like they can switch up their energy source depending on where they are.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
But it's not just about finding fuel, is it?
No, it goes even further than that.
Okay.
They can actually prepare the new location before they even get there.
No way. So they're sending out an advanced team.
Yeah, they send signals ahead to distant organs to prime them, make them more welcoming.
That's incredible. It's like they're building their new home before they even move in.
That's a great analogy.
Now, we've talked about cancer spreading, but I know that different types of cancer tend to spread to specific places, like prostate cancer often goes to the bone.
Right, that's a classic example.
But are there any places in the body that are resistant to metastasis?
That's a really interesting question. And the answer is yes.
Oh, wow. So there are places these cells can't conquer.
It seems so.
So where are these no-go zones for cancer cells?
Well, some of the research we looked at pointed to the spleen. And surprisingly, skeletal muscles.
Muscles. That's interesting. Why would muscles be resistant?
Well, researchers think it might have to do with the energy demands of muscles.
Okay.
Muscles are constantly working.
Yeah, they need lots of energy.
Exactly. And when they're active, their mitochondria produce these things called reactive oxygen species.
Reactive oxygen species. We've heard that term before, right?
We have. They came up when we talked about the spleen.
Right. So they're byproducts of energy production.
Exactly. And in high amounts, they can be toxic.
Toxic.
Yeah. Muscle cells have ways to deal with them.
Okay.
But it seems like this creates a harsh environment that cancer cells just can't handle.
So it's like a built-in defense system?
Exactly. A natural way to keep those cancer cells at bay.
That's fascinating. So let's go back to this idea of adapting to nutrient-poor environments.
Okay.
You mentioned brain metastasis earlier and how challenging that environment is.
Right. The brain is a really tough place for most cancer cells.
So how do they manage to survive there?
Well, van der Heiden's research on breast cancer cells that spread to the brain showed something amazing.
Okay.
These cells had to completely switch their fuel source.
Wow, so they're adaptable.
Incredibly. So you see, brain tissue doesn't have a lot of the fatty acids
Oh.
that breast cancer cells usually rely on.
So they had to find a new way to fuel themselves.
Exactly. And they did. They started making their own fatty acids.
No way. So they're like setting up their own little factory in the brain.
Exactly. A complete metabolic makeover.
And what's even cooler is that when the researchers blocked this fatty acid production, the cancer cells in the brain stopped growing.
Wow.
But the original breast cancer cells were unaffected.
So it's a potential target.
Right. It's like a chink in their armor, a weakness we could exploit.
Exactly. That's the hope.
Now, let's talk more about this idea of education of the metastatic niche.
Okay, that's a fascinating concept.
So how do these tumors send these signals to distant organs to prepare them for invasion?
Well, they release a variety of things into the bloodstream. Not just individual cells, but also hormones,
Oh, okay.
DNA fragments,
E.
even tiny sacs
Yeah.
called vesicles.
Vesicles.
Yeah, think of them like little packages filled with instructions.
Okay.
And when these packages reach distant organs,
Yeah.
they trigger changes that make the organ more hospitable to cancer cells.
So it's like they're sending out advanced teams to soften up the target.
That's a good way to think about it.
And you mentioned an example involving colorectal cancer and gut bacteria.
Oh, yeah, that one's fascinating.
What happens there?
So in colorectal cancer, bacteria from the gut can actually travel to the liver.
The liver.
Yeah, and once they're there, they trigger inflammation.
Inflammation. But isn't inflammation usually a good thing?
Well, not in this case.
Okay.
The inflammation actually creates an environment that's perfect for tumor growth.
Oh, wow. So the bacteria are unintentionally helping the cancer cells.
It seems that way. It's like they're setting the stage for the cancer's arrival.
So it's not just the cancer cells themselves. It's this whole network of factors.
It's a complex ecosystem.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've talked about how they adapt to nutrient-poor environments.
Yeah.
But let's get specific about these fuel sources.
Okay.
You mentioned Altia Manzano's research on fatty acids and lung metastasis.
Right. She was looking at how tumors prime the lungs for metastasis.
Okay, and what's the key player here?
It's a fatty acid called palmitate.
Palmitate.
Yeah. And it's already present in the lungs as part of surfactant.
Surfactant. What's that?
It's this slippery substance that keeps your lungs from collapsing when you breathe.
Oh, okay, interesting. So there's naturally some fat in our lungs already.
Yes, but here's the thing. Altia Manzano and her team found that when they fed mice a high-fat diet,
Okay.
which led to more palmitate in their lungs,
Yeah.
the breast cancer cells were much more likely to spread there.
So the diet was actually fueling the metastasis.
It seemed that way. The increased palmitate was giving the cancer cells what they needed to thrive.
And it wasn't just the diet, was it?
No, the tumor cells themselves were also increasing palmitate levels in the lungs.
How were they doing that?
They were secreting a substance that triggered the lungs to produce more palmitate.
Wow, so they're manipulating the environment to their advantage.
Exactly. They're making the lungs more welcoming by providing their favorite food.
And once the cancer cells arrive in this palmitate-rich environment, can they just immediately start using it?
Not quite. They still have to adapt. Yeah. Altia Manzano found that these breast cancer cells actually changed their mitochondria.
Their mitochondria.
Yeah, remember those are the energy powerhouses of the cell.
Okay.
They became more efficient at processing palmitate.
So they upgraded their machinery to take advantage of this new fuel source.
Exactly. And when they blocked this mitochondrial adaptation in mice, it stopped the metastasis, even when there was plenty of palmitate available.
So it's a two-step process. First, they manipulate the environment, then they adapt to use the new fuel.
It's a brilliant strategy, albeit a terrifying one.
Now, let's talk about an environment that's completely different from the lungs.
Okay.
The spinal fluid, which is notoriously nutrient-poor.
Right, the spinal fluid is a really harsh environment.
And Adrienne Boire has done some incredible work on metastasis to the spinal fluid.
Yes, she's a pioneer in that area.
So how do cancer cells even survive in such a barren place?
Well, Boire describes most tumor environments as being like a feast.
A feast?
Yeah, plenty of nutrients for those hungry cancer cells.
Okay.
But the brain, and especially the spinal fluid, is more like a desert.
So they're basically starving.
In a way, yeah, there's mostly glucose and very little else.
And we read that metastasis to the spinal fluid is particularly aggressive.
It is. It's a really bad sign.
So what makes these cells so deadly in this environment?
Well, Bohr's research showed that they become incredibly good at scavenging iron.
Iron. Why is iron so important?
It's crucial for many cellular processes like energy production and building new cell parts.
Okay.
And these cells, they release a protein called lipocalin-2.
Lipocalin-2.
Yeah, it acts like a little iron magnet grabbing any iron it can find.
So they're like little miners searching for this precious resource.
Exactly. And they also have a special transporter protein
Okay.
that helps bring this iron into the cell.
So they're not just finding iron, they're actively hoarding it.
Precisely. And here's the crazy part.
What?
They actually ramp up their iron collection in response to signals from immune cells.
Immune cells. So they're like eavesdropping on the immune system.
Exactly. And they use that information to steal iron from the immune cells themselves.
No way. So they're not only surviving, they're weakening the body's defenses.
It's a brilliant and ruthless strategy. Bohr even called them the original jerks at the buffet.
That's a great analogy. So how do you fight these iron-hoarding cells?
Well, Bohr's team tested a drug called deferoxamine in mice.
Deferoxamine.
Yeah, it basically binds to iron, preventing the cancer cells from using it.
Okay.
And the results were impressive. The mice treated with deferoxamine lived almost twice as long.
That's amazing. So blocking their access to iron could be a potential treatment.
That's the hope. And based on these findings, Dr. Bohr is now running a clinical trial.
A clinical trial? That's fantastic.
To test deferoxamine in patients with spinal fluid metastasis.
That's really exciting. And it aligns with her approach of targeting the environment rather than just attacking the cancer cells directly.
Right. It's a different way of thinking about treatment.
You know, we've talked about adapting to new food sources.
Yeah.
But the journey itself must be incredibly stressful for these cells.
Oh, absolutely.
I remember reading about something called metabolic stress.
Right. The journey is a tough one.
And Sean Morrison's research on melanoma cells really highlighted this.
Yeah. He found that traveling through the bloodstream exposes these cells to a lot of reactive oxygen species.
Reactive oxygen species again.
Yeah, remember, those are the byproducts of energy production.
Yeah, and we talked about how they can be toxic.
Exactly. And in the bloodstream, there's more oxygen and potentially iron,
Okay.
which can fuel the production of these damaging molecules.
So it's like a dangerous environment for them.
It is. Morrison even compared it to a grease fire starting inside the cell.
A grease fire, that's a vivid image.
It's called ferroptosis, this process, where the cell membrane basically starts to break down.
Oh, wow. So how do they survive this internal fire?
Well, some melanoma cells seem to protect themselves by traveling through the lymphatic system first.
The lymphatic system.
Yeah, in the lymph, they can pick up these monounsaturated fatty acids,
Okay.
which are less susceptible to this damage.
So it's like they're choosing a safer route to avoid the fire.
Exactly. They're taking the scenic route to avoid the danger zones.
That's incredible. And what about the really aggressive melanoma cells?
The ones that are really good at metastasizing,
Yeah.
they actually rewire their metabolism to use the stress to their advantage.
How do they do that?
They consume lactate from their surroundings.
Lactase.
Yeah, and they use it to produce antioxidant molecules.
Antioxidants.
Yeah, which protect them from the damage.
Wow. So they're turning the tables on the stress.
Exactly. They're using it to fuel their defenses.
That's amazing. And this leads us to a really surprising finding about antioxidants, right?
Yes, this was a big surprise.
So what was it?
Well, Morrison's research in mice showed that giving them antioxidants could actually promote metastasis.
Promote metastasis. That's the opposite of what we'd expect.
I know it's counterintuitive.
So antioxidants are bad in this case.
It seems that way in this context.
Okay.
The thinking is that the antioxidants might be protecting the cancer cells from the stress that would normally kill them.
So they're helping them survive the journey.
Exactly. And this might explain why some past studies in humans showed a link between antioxidant supplements and increased cancer risk.
That's a bit concerning.
It is.
Yeah.
And Morrison suggests that cancer cells might benefit more from antioxidants than healthy cells.
Especially during those early stages of metastasis.
Yeah, when they're most vulnerable.
And this raises the possibility of treatments that actually increase reactive oxygen species.
Yeah, to fight metastasis.
It's a complete reversal of conventional thinking.
It really is. It shows how complex this whole system is.
Now, given all these metabolic adaptations, it makes you wonder about the role of our lifestyle and diet.
It certainly does. What we eat and how we live can influence our metabolism.
Right, and that could impact metastasis.
Exactly. Morrison even speculated that a diet high in polyunsaturated fatty acids.
Like the fats in salmon and soybean oil.
Yeah, Those might make cancer cells more vulnerable to that ferroptosis we talked about.
The grease fire.
Exactly.
But we need to be careful about drawing conclusions, right?
Absolutely. Sarah Maria Fent cautions that changing your diet alone won't cure cancer.
Right.
And the effects can be unpredictable.
Yeah, like the antioxidant example.
Exactly. So we need more research.
More research is always key.
And right now, there's no specific anti-metastasis diet that we can recommend.
Okay, that makes sense. So what are the key takeaways from our deep dive today?
But we've seen that the ability of cancer cells to spread is a highly complex process.
It's not just random chance.
No, it involves incredible adaptations and manipulation of the environment.
They can change their fuel sources, prepare new locations, and even steal resources from the immune system.
It's amazing how resourceful they are.
And we've also learned that things we think of as healthy, like antioxidants, can actually have unintended consequences.
It highlights the need for a deeper understanding of the complexities of cancer.
And this knowledge opens up new possibilities for treatment.
Exactly. We can target these vulnerabilities and dependencies.
Instead of just focusing on the primary tumor.
Right. It's a new frontier in cancer research.
So as we wrap up today, we want to leave you with a thought to ponder. How might this new understanding of cellular environments and metabolic processes change the way we approach cancer prevention and treatment in the future?
That's a big question.
It is, if these cells can adapt and thrive in seemingly impossible conditions. What does that tell us about the nature of cancer?
It's a humbling reminder of how much we still have to learn.
It really is, and it gives us hope that we can find new ways to fight this disease.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It's been a pleasure.
And we'll see you next time for another fascinating exploration into the world of science and health.
See you then.